Hey everybody. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I decided I wanted to show you guys a little bit about farm record book that I made for the farm this winter to keep track of everything. And the video ended up taking me 11 minutes to explain it all. So I decided that this week I would put out this video first so that you can see the binder before I move on to our video at the end of the week that will come out on Friday at our normal time. The Friday video, we will be discussing what to do on the homestead during winter, because I honestly have a lot of time in the winter to do things, which is why we started a YouTube channel in the middle of winter. Be sure you wait till Friday to check that out. And today's video, I will be showing you that binder and everything that we do to kind of get organized and start planning, and where I keep all of our records for all of the farm. So be sure to stick around and watch that. And if you want more information on it, comment below or go ahead and get a hold of us. I will have links in the description of this video where you can find contact information to get a hold of us. It's still been really, really warm actually, so it's been really nice. I'm just on my way out to the coop. We got to get the eggs. We still have some egg orders coming in, so I've been making sure I get out to the coop often to collect the eggs, trying to collect them while they're still warm. This morning I collected a dozen still warm, so making sure I get those eggs nice and fresh for those orders. And the birds love it. The birds love that I come out to see them more during the day because they think they're going to get treats. Hello, birds. What do you think? Do you need a snack? Do you need a snack? No way. No way. Good morning. Who's squabbling in here? Oh, what? Did you lay an egg for me? Is there a special nugget in there for me? Oh, you guys are fighting over the box. We have enough boxes in here for every hen to have their own, I swear. And they still fight over them. We got the box here, that one they really like because it's nice and hidden behind the door. We've got all these boxes back here. And that's just on the one side. Then we've got all these ones back here. Girls, girls, girls. There's boxes everywhere and they just fight. Got one Marin hen thinking she wants to be broody. What's the matter, sweet girl? Do you got any treasures for me? Do you got any treasures for me? Nothing? There's nothing in there? What are you doing? Oh, there's one. Well, I got a couple. Farm planning is extremely important for the homestead. Knowing what we want to do, what our expectations are, keeping all of our records, keeping records of the animals, income, expenses, all of that. So this year I made this awesome farm record book to keep track. Last year I had just written everything down journal style, which was great, but when it was time to find things, it made it really, really difficult. I had found lots of different suggestions and ideas on Etsy mostly, and I found that I didn't like all of the templates, things that were missing from our farm that I wanted, or things that were added that we don't have. So I wanted to make sure that I had a binder that had all of the things we have in it and that was catered to our needs of the homestead. So I'll go ahead and give you guys a tour. We keep invoices of feed here, and then they get put and categorized in on a receipt side for all of the farm expenses monthly. We have our farm goals here, so I can write out. So we're right through January right now, so I've got some of our goals. We're start the YouTube channel and a website, so I'm going to need to start thinking of goals we have for upcoming month. Chickens, so this is the total amount of chickens we had as of January 1st of this year. And then throughout So as we go through the chickens, we have the flock. So this is the Americana Flock. I only have a few of them. The ones that I've named so far are listed. So I'm going to need to spend some more time kind of going through. I can write down where we've got them from and their hatch dates. So I've got all of them listed. We've got the Marin Flock in here. I've got the Lag Bar Flock listed on here. with their hatch dates. And then I can keep notes. So our red band is not up to breed standards, so she will not be used in the breeding pen. So I can keep notes like that in here as well. Our Easter and Olive Acre flock. And then breeding pens. So as we get closer to March, I'm going to need to decide where I'm going to separate out my breeds and what coops and how I want them organized. And then I also left a spot for fertility so that I could track fertility rates. A treatment log. So I haven't had to treat anybody so far this year, but this is where I keep track of that, so I can keep track of what chicken it was, if I knew the illness, if I needed to give them any medications, any notes. A maintenance log, so this would be more so like if everybody got dewormed, then I could keep track of everybody's deworming. Hatch info, so this is where I'll be keeping track of all of the eggs we hatched this year, so I can keep track of how many eggs were in the incubator, the fertility, how many duds, a hen or incubator. So if I have a hen hatch, then I can keep them listed in here as well. And then how many hatched plus the date. Egg info. So this is our egg sales. So I left many pages of that for the egg sales because I know that we'll have lots throughout the season. And then I also left a spot for harvest birds. So this is something I didn't keep track of last year that I wanted to keep track of this year. I wanted to know how many birds we actually process in a year so that I know how many we have in the freezer, and then also keeping track of the breeds. And then expenses specific to the harvest birds because they're going to be needing lots of starter and grower throughout the season. Income, so this is our income off of our eggs that we've sold. So I have a few different pages of income. Expenses, so feed costs and our shipping fees for eggs. It's got many pages of expenses. Pre-order lists, so keeping track of who has pre-ordered. This is egg lists, so I know who's ordered eggs. Breeding pens, so I've written down all the different possibilities for egg color combinations so that I know what I want for my mixed pens, but then also keeping track of our purebred pens and how I want to keep them organized for the year. The geese. So for the geese, I've done the same thing. I have the flock listed here. So I have on here their names, their breed. They're all the same breed, which makes it easy. But we do have Emerald with a white stripe on her chest, so I can keep track of that in here. And then we have the hatch date for all of them. And then also their origin, so where we have got them from, or who their parents are, because some of our girls were ones we had hatched ourselves. Then a treatment and maintenance log for them for the year. Hatching info, so it's same as the chickens, but for the geese, so I can keep track of all of the goose incubation for the year. I also have an income sheet for the geese, just off gosling sales and egg sales when we start selling our hatching eggs. And expenses for the geese are listed here as well. The turkeys. So again, flock listed. Medications, so I've had one female turkey that has been limping, so I have been keeping track of it, and every time I do an exam and check it, I've been writing it down here to see what I have found, to be able to kind of track if there's been any improvement or any other symptoms that have presented. Hatching info, income, and expenses, so it's pretty much the same thing throughout for the birds. Then we'll skip on to the goats. All right, so the goats, again, goat herd, so I've got all the girls listed here. Then I have breeding info, so I can write down when they were all exposed to a billy and what their potential due dates are. So I've talked about this before in a few videos, that it is possible that Luna has a date of March 3rd. So we'll be keeping a close eye on her for any signs of readiness around then. But if not, then they should all be due on the 23rd of March. maintenance log. So the girls, I did write down some of their 2021 in here just so that it was easier to reference because we did deworm them in 2021. And then when Star had her foot injury, I just wrote that down in here as well so that I can make sure that she's doing well and still recovering from that. So kidding info so that I can keep track of the kids, kidding sales so I can keep track of where the kids sold to. Milk production. So each one of the girls, I have a sheet on milk production so that we have the date and time, which goat it was, how much milk, how much feed they have been getting, and any notes that I want to keep track of for milk production. So I have one for each of the girls. Then I also keep track of their expenses, so the feed, so hay feed, and they've been getting the alfalfa pellet, which I've been buying, so that's all calculated in here. And the garden. The garden has been lots of fun. So for the garden, keeping records, just my seed inventory so I can write down all of the seed. This is all last year's seed, so I don't have anything written down in prices because it was all just a last year's expense. So I've got tons of seed inventory, which I didn't realize how much seed I actually have stored. So lots and lots of seed. And then planting info. So I wanted to be able to keep track of when I'm starting seeds, when they're actually going out into the garden. So that's the location. So I want to know where in the garden or if they were in the greenhouse. So I've left that on here as well. So I've got a couple sheets of that. Garden expenses for dirt. And then I can also keep track of any other things, like if I buy a new hose for the garden or things like that. So any garden expenses is getting recorded in here as well. And garden notes. So I have seen and read a lot that if you keep track of your garden, it can really help in years to come. So I wanted to keep track of all of the stuff in the garden and how it grew, what I liked, different varieties of vegetables, and whether or not they were worth keeping. Farm accounting, we keep track of here. Income from any of the animals and expenses from any of the animals so that we can see monthly how we're doing here on the farm. And then we can keep track of all of our farm receipts as well and keep all of the farm receipts tucked away so that we know how much we are spending each month for feed and such for the animals. I have just some loose note paper for anything if I feel like I need a couple things. And then I have all of these. So these are the records that I had for last year. So definitely a huge step up. And I'm really looking forward to being able to keep track of the records a lot easier. So this is what our farm record book looks like. And if you have any questions or if you'd like to know how I did it, then go ahead and comment below, or you can message me and I can give you more details. So some of you might have noticed that in my binder there was a section on rabbits that I actually skipped through in the video. So this spring we're actually planning on getting set up to have rabbits. We might not even end up getting rabbits until this summer if we're fortunate, because we actually have to do all of the setup and prep for having rabbits again. I had mentioned in our very first video that that's how we got started, was actually raising rabbits. And we've been out of it now for, I think, about 2 years. So we want to make sure that we are completely set up to be able to raise rabbits again and have all of the things that we want set up in place to just start out nice and fresh with nice new pens so that we don't have to be fiddling and fixing and making pens as we go. So this is actually our old rabbit hutches that we kept around. We keep the cat food in it so the cats have something to eat here. So this is where our rabbit area used to be. So as you can see, it needs a lot of work. We used to have a big rabbit pen here as well that we have now taken down and took apart this year. And we still, like, underneath that mound of snow is an old nesting spot for the colony. And then you can see all these pens we have back here that we'd used. So behind the rabbit pen here used to be a pig pen when we had a mini pig, and then we had a duck pen on the other side. So make sure you guys come back and see us on Friday at noon when our other video will come out, where we'll talk more about winter, and we'll be talking about priorities, setting goals for the farm, and we'll talk about what we do for planning for spring. And make sure you watch to the end. We are going to be doing a giveaway. So be sure you stick around for our Friday video for our giveaway.